to St Mary's Development Day on the 6 learning spaces. Learning beyond the classroom can be seen as taking your students outside of the normal 4-wall classroom and expanding their learning to a more worldly view. This can be done through excursions or incursions and is supported by Vygotsky's zone of proximal development theory. As teachers, we are engaging all different learning styles in our classrooms, especially those who don't like to sit still. We also get the chance to be taught by experts in the field, so we can take away the knowledge to then teach the future lessons. One key challenge associated with these excursions and incursions is that we take on a bigger responsibility to ensure that all the students' safety and well-being is covered, and that we need to ensure that students are actually gaining knowledge from this and not just enjoying a day out. For our students, they have their own challenge of actually focusing on the learning and not being distracted by what is going on around them and the fun they are having. Students with additional needs may struggle as well, and that it's an unfamiliar place and change of their routine. Aside from these, students love going out and learning new and interesting things and breaking open the traditional 4-wall classroom, providing a fun and engaging way of learning and allows them to interact with the world in which they will be living and build their lives in. To implement this, we can be taking our students on excursions or incursions to allow them to experience a worldly view of their education. This can be difficult sometimes due to financial issues, so we can do something as simple as teaching on the oval or at the park one day, or even getting our students to investigate the work we're doing in the environments around them. The electronic space, or e-space as it is more commonly referred to, can be classified as anything that is on the electronic spectrum, such as social networking, online websites, virtual communication, and anything else. This is an ever-growing space that our students have been raised in and will base their future lives around, so we need to ensure that we're incorporating this into our classrooms to keep them up with the times of their future. This is great for teachers, as everything is just a click away from all the resources and activities you can dream of to support. It also allows to make our work a bit more efficient with the use of marking, assessing, and grading all online. The eSpace shares the same challenges that it does for teachers and students, in that there is the risk of cyberbullying, the risk of viewing the wrong content and straying to sites that you should not be on, and filtering the appropriate content for each year level. Apart from these, though, it is a great way for students to be actively involved in learning in what will soon be the future of their world, which will be technology, and it allows them to have a hands-on experience. We are the best resource to our students, so we need to ensure that we are able to guide them through the online work, so we need to know the content ourselves to be competent in what we are showing our students. This can be done through professional development as a team or individually. We also need to ensure that everyone is in etiquette, so that everyone is being respected using their online systems. We are also very lucky to have hundreds of electronic devices to use, such as laptops, iPads, and interactive whiteboards, as well as the apps associated with these. Our personal learning space is a physical space that is used to express reflections on learning and studying, but also a place to connect and experience a new side to individual learning and others. These spaces tend to include the direction of learning, self-efficacy, such as a way to reward one's hard work, reflections, and their own personal taxonomies. Teachers, this allows us to be able to build our own network of support and inspiration around us. It gives us a chance to reflect after a hard day of work on the lessons we taught to further ourselves to improve on what we can do in the future. The struggle with these is that we always have a lot of things going on in our lives, so finding the time to sit down and reflect on our day or to add to our personal learning space can be quite difficult to find the time. This gives them the chance to identify their educational goals and what they need to succeed, as well as reflect on what has worked for them to make them feel confident in their learning. They get the chance to network and share resources with students on similar learning journeys for them. The challenge with this is that it is majority online, so we have to worry about bullying and safety and privacy being compromised on the online world, and also that everyone will be different, so each space will differ, causing it hard for students to connect. To our classroom, we need to assign time for lessons for the students to engage and discover their personal learning space. We are also their best resource, so we need to be there to provide help and assistance to build connections for our students. We also need to investigate our own personal learning networks and spaces, which can be done individually or as staff groups to further develop our knowledge, allowing us to support each other as we build up our own PLNs. space is not a physical space like the other 5 we have looked at today. It is one that is a psychological space. It's a space between what we already know and what we need to know. It is a state in the process of learning which there is a reformulation of the learner's meaning frame. This gives us a great insight into our students' learning, and we get the knowledge of where our students are in the content and what they are struggling with. The challenges of the liminal space is that we ourselves need to first have the knowledge and understanding of it to be able to assist students, and we need to be able to engage our students in this space and teach them how to work through it, which is hard if they are lacking the confidence. For our students, this is a great space as they get the chance to learn new content and understand that it's okay to not know what is happening and that you will get there. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the students don't have the patience and they do get frustrated with being in this space. With a strong focus on reflection, we need to ensure that we are modelling reflection for our students. So this can be done through using reflective questions and through discussing and having shared reflections as a class. For teachers and students, this is a confusing space, so ensuring that we're constantly revising with staff and students to ensure everyone has a sound understanding. Cooperative group work is a learning space that is not about individuals, but is working with a group of individuals to achieve an educational goal and start on their educational journey. Through this learning space, we get the chance to take a step back, give the content, then allow the students to facilitate their own learning and problem solve to get the understanding needed. The challenge of this learning space is that we need to be consistently monitoring that the students are working well together and that there are no clashes in personality or that there are no dominant personalities taking control and allowing everyone to get a fair chance. In groups, our students are always going to want to socialise, so a key challenge will be for them to be focused on the work that is at hand. We also need to ensure that they're keeping at a good noise level to ensure that students are not getting lost in what is meant to be happening. Aside from this is a good opportunity for students to connect and social network with fellow peers and people they aren't normally associating with. It is through these that they can observe peer learning styles and implement those strategies into their own learning. Using trial and error is a great way of seeing what will work in the classroom and for your students and what won't work. We can also have discussions with our students to see what they are enjoying and what they aren't enjoying about certain learning styles we've implemented. We could also use furniture that encourages and engages discussions and group work. We know that each classroom and each school has their own pedagogies and ideas about how they would prefer their school to be. Without any changes coming, we are now converting to the open plan classroom style. For us teachers, this is a great opportunity to get more involved in our children's discussions. We get the chance to be able to track their behaviour and learning. As it is more open, we get to see how each individual student is interacting in groups and individually. And we get to personalise the classroom design to reflect what we are teaching, what we're focusing on, and what the children are interested in. Unfortunately, noise and behaviour control is a bit harder as one big open space with so many children, it tends to get quite noisy and a lot of movement happening. Students, this allows their creativity to shine through as there is not as a set structure, and they have the opportunity to do more collaborative group work with their peers. The challenge with this is that there is the chance for greater distractions, and it can be stressful for students with additional needs as their routine and structure is being disrupted. The key focus for us teachers is to ensure behaviour management and noise is being controlled to ensure everyone a fair chance in their learning opportunities. Undergoing the change to open plan classrooms, we need to take advantage of the knowledge out there, so visiting schools and talking to teachers that teach in these environments will further expand the way we'll run our classrooms.